Hello students, how's everyone? I hope everyone is doing good. Yes? Okay, welcome to Relief Tutorials. Today we'll be studying chapter number 5 of grade 9, that is the fundamental unit of life. Okay, now as you all know that the basic fundamental unit of life is cell, right? The basic structural and functional unit of our life is cell. Our body is made up of cells, right? Each and every part of our body is made up of cells. It is our building block. It is the building block of our body. Yes. Now when we are talking about cells, today we'll be studying 5 to 8 different topics. First is discovery of cells. Who discovered cells? Okay, cell theory, different theories that were being implemented, different types of cells, their parts, structural parts like plasma membrane, cell wall, nucleus, cytoplasm, and overview of cell organelles. Okay, so we will cover this many points today in our lecture. Okay, now starting with cell. What are cells? As I told that it is basic structural and functional unit of our body or of our life, right? Now structural means, as I told, like if you talk about any of the buildings, okay, it is made up of bricks. Same way our body, it is made up of cells. So our body is getting structure because of cells, right? And functional unit means different functions that my body is performing, like respiring, or my heart is pumping, okay, my eyes are watching something, my ears are listening, my hands are doing movement. So that all things are functions that my body is doing. So that is possible with help of different cells. Okay, so the cell is the basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all known organisms. Clear? This is our cell. Okay, a cell is the smallest unit of life. It is the smallest unit of life because cells, different cells will join together, will cluster of cells will unite, and they will form tissues. Then tissues will be forming organs. Okay, organs will be forming organ system, and then an entire organism will be formed. So the smallest unit of our life is cell. Okay, they are often called as building blocks of our life. Why? Because our body is made up of cells. Okay, lot many cells will form our body, will form tissues, organs, organ system, and then an organism. Clear? So it is known as building block of our life. The study of cell is called cell biology. Whatever things we are studying related to cell, that branch is known as cell biology. Okay, or you can say cellular biology, or it can be also called as cytology. This is structure of cell. You can see in this cell, nucleus is present, endoplasmic reticulum is present, Golgi body, lysosomes, vacuoles. Okay, different cell organelles are present, but those things we will study in detail later on, right? So cell is the basic structural and functional unit of our life. Clear? Okay, moving towards cell theory, discovery of cell. The first person to discover cell was Robert Hooke, scientist Robert Hooke, in 1665 from a thin slice of cork. Now you know cork is the outermost part of a plant body. Okay, it is usually dead, just dry. Okay, so from that cork he observed it that there are block like compartments. Okay, and he named it as cells. It was like small rooms, you can see here. Okay, small square like structures were observed for the first time by Mr. Robert Hooke in 1665 from thin slice of cork. Okay, and he named it as cells. In 1665, scientist Robert Hooke used a microscope to examine the thin slice of cork. He observed that cork is made up of tiny hollow compartments. Tiny hollow compartments you can see in this picture. Okay, it is microscopic diagram. He called these boxes as cells, and cell is a Latin word for little room. Okay, so it appeared, he saw it as small compartments, so he named it as cell. Yeah. Okay, then one more scientist, after a few years, one scientist again researched on the same thing, and with development of an organized, or you can say quite modern microscope, okay, or improved microscope, Sir Anton Leeuwenhoek, he told, or he checked from the pond water. Okay, he took the sample of pond water and he worked on it. He saw living cells for the first time. Okay, so the existence of cell was unknown for many years, but this changed with the invention of microscope. As I told prior, Robert Hooke, he saw in primitive microscope, but Mr. Antolin, okay, he saw in invented microscope or improved microscope. From he took sample from pond water and he saw that the cells were living. Okay, you can say amoeba or paramecium, those are single cell organisms. Okay, they would be present in water, and he saw there was movement in cells. Okay, they are unicellular organisms, so there was movement in those cells. Okay, so Leeuwenhoek in 1975 with improved microscope discovered the free living cells in pond water for the first time. Okay, then again cell theory went on and on. Okay, in 1838 Sheldon, okay, Sheldon was the scientist who, Sheldon and Schwann, okay, both of them, they worked on cell theory, and they told that all the living organisms are made up of cells, all plants are made up of cells, and all animals are made up of cells. Okay, Sheldon and Schwann. Okay, so these two scientists told that the living organisms are made up of cells. They also mentioned that cells are basic structural and functional unit of our life. Yes, but they told that cells arise spontaneously. That was wrong. It does not arise spontaneously. Spontaneously means, okay, from here a cell is arising, from here a cell is arising, or from any random place all of a sudden a cell is arising. It is not so. So the second statement which they gave went wrong. Okay, that is cell arise spontaneously. Okay, then Rudolf Virchow, okay, he in year 1855 he mentioned that all cells came from the pre-existing cells. Okay, he proved the third point of Sheldon and Schwann wrong, that cells arise spontaneously. He proved it wrong, but he corrected and said that all cells came from the pre-existing cells. Okay, as you all know that in cell division, one cell will be divided into two and two will be four, divided into four, and it goes on and on. So a cell comes from its pre-existing cells. Clear? So this is cell theory. You need to remember in 1838 and 1839, Sheldon and Schwann, they told that all plants are made up of cells, all animals are made up of cells. They also told that cells arise spontaneously, which went wrong, which was proved by Rudolf Virchow that it is not correct. Okay, all cells comes from pre-existing cells in year 1855. So this was cell theory. Clear? Okay, now basically based on the number of cells present in the body, okay, the amount of cells present in our body, organisms are divided into two types. One is unicellular and second one is multicellular. Name itself suggests uni means single. Okay, unicellular means those organisms which are single celled organism. Example is amoeba and paramecium. You can see a paramecium, amoeba, bacteria, yeast. A single cell is an individual. Okay, so it is known as unicellular organism. Multicellular means we have many cells, human body, plant body, insects. Okay, we are multicellular organisms because we are made up of combination of different cells. Okay, in our body, you know that those cells which will be able to perform functions for contraction and relaxation, okay, will be forming muscles. Okay, and that muscles will be helping us in doing different movements. So like that way in us division of labor was found. So we are multicellular organisms, animals, plants and fungi. Okay, now unicellular organisms, single celled organisms, genetic material scattered not definite within nucleus. Okay, unicellular, or you can say prokaryotes. Okay, amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, those will be falling under unicellular organism. They are single cell organisms. Okay, now you know that single cell organisms, they do not have proper well bound nucleus. You can see your nucleoid, you marked it as nucleoid. Okay, so genetic material is randomly scattered in the cytoplasm. They don't have membrane bound nucleus. Okay, first point. Second, they do not have nucleus or other bound organelles. Okay, organelles are also not there. You can see here anywhere mitochondria or Golgi body. No, so they do not have membrane bound organelles. Clear? Third point, they have flagella and pillae. This is flagella. You can see a tail-like structure that is known as flagella, and this small hair-like structures, they are known as pillae or pilus. Okay, this pillae and flagellum will be helping them for motion and movement of their cell body. Clear? Okay, it has a cell wall, it has plasma membrane. Cell wall and plasma membrane is present in unicellular organisms. Okay, cytoplasm and ribosomes. Now, flagella and pillae helps in the movement and locomotion. Example is amoeba, paramecium, and bacteria. So, unicellular organism, they are single cell. Genetic material is randomly scattered. It is not definite. Definite nucleus is not present. Okay, so it is known as nucleoid. Fine. Membrane bound organelles absent. Okay, flagella and pillae for the movement or for motion of their body. Example is amoeba and paramecium, or you can say bacteria. These are known as prokaryotes or unicellular organisms. Clear? Second, we have multicellular organisms, means plants or animals, insects, anyone. Fine. So those organisms which are composed of many cells are known as multicellular organisms. Okay, membrane bound cell organelles and nucleus. You can see here nucleus, membrane bound nucleus is present. So genetic material will be present inside this part only. Okay, you can see different organelles are also membrane bound. Lysosome, okay, mitochondria, so they are membrane bound. It is enclosed by a membrane. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, vacuoles. Okay, so multicellular or eukaryotic organisms have membrane bound organelles as well as nucleus. Division of labor is found. As I told, that specific cells are doing specific functions, or specific organelles will be doing different functions. Now you know that mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. So it will be creating energy. It will be giving energy to our cell, to our body, right? Nucleus has genetic material in it, so it will be showing inheritance from the parents. Okay. Then endoplasmic reticulums will be having rhizosome in it, so it will help in protein synthesis. So division of labor is there. Okay, each and every organelle has a specific function. Lysosome, suicidal bag, it will digest the foreign particles or invading materials. Okay, so division of labor is found in multicellular organisms. Cell walls, if present, made up of cellulose in plants. Okay, now in plants usually cell wall is present, but in animals it is absent. Okay, so see, our skin is flexible. Okay, if we talk about plant, they are very hard. Okay, for a proper structure of their body, plant body, cellulose is needed, which is like cell wall is needed, and cell wall is made up of cellulose, and because of that thing it is very hard. Outer covering is very hard. We don't have cell walls. Okay, so we are flexible. Clear? Fine. So prokaryotes and eukaryotes, you can clearly differentiate between both of them. Okay, cell wall and plasma membrane both are present. Here cell wall is absent, just plasma membrane or cell membrane is present. Here membrane bound nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles, are present. Here you can see any of the cell organelles. No, it is not present, so it is absent. Okay, flagellum or pillae is present. Okay, nucleoid is there. Here we have well developed, well defined nucleus. Clear? Okay, plant and animal cells. Now there are few difference between plant and animal cells. Okay, we know that both are multicellular organisms, right? So there will be similarity in their cells, but there are few things that plants will have, and there are few things that animals don't have. As one we discussed, that is cell wall. Plants, they have cell wall, we do not have cell wall. So first difference is presence of cell wall in plant cell, it is absent in animal cell. Second is large vacuole is present. In plants, there is a big vacuole. Okay, big vacuole is present, which will be helping in giving turgidity to our cell. Okay, plant cell. It is also helping in storage of water and other food materials. Okay, this vacuole. Now on the other hand, in animal cell, it is small or it is not present. Vacuole is very small or it is totally absent. Okay, next we have chloroplast. Chloroplast is a plastid which is present in plant, and this chloroplast is a color giving pigment, okay, which gives green color to the plant. Okay, so that is absent in animal cell. We do not have chloroplast, otherwise we will be also of green color. Okay, so we do not have chloroplast, we don't have plastids, so chloroplast is absent in animals. Last is flagella, only in gametes. Okay, flagella will be present only in gametes, and in animal cells flagella will be present. Clear? There are few similarities between plant and animal cell, that is mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, cytoplasm, nucleus, ribosome, smooth ER and rough ER. So these are the organelles which are present in both of them. These are the differences, okay, in plant and animal cells. Clear? Though we both are multicellular organisms, but there are few differences, clear, that I have mentioned here. Okay, next, as I discussed here, chloroplast, it is a type of plastid which is giving color to the plant body. So there are basically three types of plastids. One is chloroplast. You can see this is chloroplast. It will be present in the plant body. It contains chlorophyll, that is a green color pigment. Okay, it contains chlorophyll, that is a green color pigment that absorbs sunlight in photosynthesis. They will absorb sunlight in photosynthesis and they will produce and store glucose. Chromoplast, it is containing carotenoids, means that will give us red, orange and yellow pigments. Okay, so coloration in fruits and flower is because of chromoplast. Last is leucoplast. It contains no pigment, any pigment is not present, so it is colorless and it is used to store starch. Okay, so if 2 mark question is asked, right, types of plastid, you should be aware and you should know that there are 3 types of plastids which are present in plant body. Okay, plant cell: chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. Clear? Fine. So next we have is few types of cells present in human body. Now as you all know that our human body, as we discussed, we are multicellular, so we have different cells present in our body. Division of labor is found. Okay, so different cell will be performing different function. Okay, depending on their size and shape of the cell, they are differentiated for specific functions. Okay, and they perform specific functions. Shape and size of cell depends on the specific function they perform. Okay, now as you all know that neurons, nerve cells, they need to transmit signals from brain to each and every part of our body. So it need to have a huge size, not huge, but it should have a longitudinal size. It should be long. So those cells, neurons, you can see nerve cells are quite long. Okay, it has a good length. Okay, red blood cells, they need to pass in our capillaries. Okay, so they are quite tiny. Fine. Same way, contraction, and for contraction and relaxation of our muscles, we have smooth muscle cells. For fertilization, we have ovum and sperm cells. Okay, and bone cells. Clear? So yes, you know that the shape and size of cells are fixed. Okay, like nerve cell has a fixed peculiar shape and size as well. But if you talk about unicellular organisms, their shape keeps on changing, like amoeba. Okay, amoeba keeps on changing their shape. But can we change our shape? No, right? Because we have a specialization of our cells. Okay, and as you all know that cells divide to produce the cells of their own kind, as Rudolf Virchow told that the cells arises from the pre-existing cells. So cells divide to produce their own kind. Clear? Division of labor in multicellular organisms. Okay, for pumping, for circulation of our blood, we require red blood cells. Okay, for carrying O2, CO2 to different places, we require blood cells. Okay, for contraction and relaxation of our muscles, we require smooth muscle cells. For passing neurons and impulses, we require nerve cells. Okay, so specific function is allotted, the specific work is allotted to different cells in multicellular organisms. Heart usually pumps the blood. Stomach, it helps in digestion of food. Okay, so heart cannot digest the food or it will not go across. Okay, specific cells will be doing specific function only. Clear? Fine. Now, as you all might be knowing that ostrich egg, do you know that ostrich egg, it measures around 6 inches, okay, and it is one of the biggest cell, one of the largest cell existing, okay, it is the largest cell on earth, okay. Just think about how large an ostrich egg is. The circumference is 15 to 18 each, and it is 6 inches in length, so it will be very huge. Clear? The 3.3 pound ostrich egg contains the largest existing cell. If we talk about human body, okay, which is the largest cell in our human body? So it is egg cell, okay, ovum. And the smallest one is sperm cell. Clear? The longest one is nerve cell. So these are a few basic questions, might be in MCQs. You might get such questions in MCQs during your exam, so make sure you have a note on it. Clear? Fine. So this was about different types of cells that are unicellular and multicellular. Okay. Now, what is cell made up of, or what is the structural organization of cell? Now we know that cell is made up of something, but what it is? Okay, so there are three basic things a cell is made up of. Okay, each and every cell is made up of. One is cell membrane, second is nucleus, that is control center of our body, and third one is cytoplasm. So three things will be forming a cell. There would be few additional things, but this three is basic. Okay, the structural organization of our cell is cell membrane, nucleus, and plasma membrane. Okay, each cell organelles perform specific functions such as making new material in the cell, clearing up the waste material from the cell, and so on. As I told, that mitochondria, so they have duty of giving energy, suicidal bag, lysosome, okay, ribosomes. So each and every one is sorted with specific functions. Okay, these organelles together constitute the basic unit of cell. Okay, you can see in this cell, this is our cell, three basic thing. One is nucleus, this is our nucleus. Okay, this is cytoplasm, the liquid which is present in the cell is known as cytoplasm, the fluid. Okay, cell membrane is the outermost covering of our cell. Clear? So this is forming a structure of our cell. Okay, structural organization, plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm, three things. Clear? So one by one we will study. We will start with plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is also known as cell membrane. Okay, kids? So don't get confused. Cell wall and cell membrane both are different. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, which is present in prokaryotes, and in eukaryotes, in plants, cell wall is present. Clear? Thick covering, okay, that is made up of cellulose, but in animals, in us, it is not present, it is absent. We just have cell membrane. Clear? Okay, now first thing that we will study is known as plasma membrane. It is the outermost covering. Here you can see this lining, the inner lining, that is known as cell membrane. Okay, this is our cell, the innermost lining. See, they have labeled here. Okay, the innermost purple color lining you can see, that is known as cell membrane. Okay, and this is a plant cell. Okay, they have shown a plant cell. How we can figure out? You can see here a large vacuole. Okay, so this is a plant cell, so they'll have cell membrane, and the outermost, this one, this light green, that is cell wall. But first we'll start with plasma membrane, that is cell membrane. Okay, the plasma membrane, also called as cell membrane, is the membrane found in all cells that separates the interior cell from the outside environment. Now what will happen in this cell? You can see the organelles. Okay, so what this cell membrane will do? Cell membrane will separate this internal parts from the external environment. Okay, if this cell membrane won't be present, these things will come outside. It will be in touch with environment. Okay, so because of the presence of cell membrane, it is separating the cell organelles from its outside environment. Clear? Now in bacterial and plant cells, cell wall is attached to the plasma membrane. As I mentioned, bacteria or paramecium or amoeba, they have cell wall. Okay, and plant cells, they also have cell wall, but animal cells, they don't have. So a cell wall is attached to the plasma membrane. You can see this is our cell membrane, this is our plasma membrane, and this outer membrane will be known as cell wall. Okay, so they both will be attached, but in whom? Only bacteria, paramecium, or you can say only unicellular organisms and plants. Okay, now, what is the function of this plasma membrane or cell membrane? It also prevents the movement of some other materials. Okay, it is semi-permeable membrane, selectively permeable membrane. It allows the entry of few molecules in and out. Okay, so it is known as selectively permeable membrane. The cell membrane, therefore, is, excuse me, is called a selectively permeable membrane. Okay, you can see that this is our plasma membrane. Like this type of structure would be there in entire cell membrane. Okay, this is hydrophobic tail and this is hydrophilic head. As you all know that plasma membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. Okay, so that this is combination of lipid and protein, hydrophobic tail and a hydrophilic head. Okay, it is also known as phosphobilipid layer or phospholipid bilayer. Clear? Fine. Now you, as I told, that it is a selectively permeable membrane. It allows entry of few molecules in and out. Okay, and why it is needed? Because you know that our cell needs energy, right? It needs nutrients. It needs few things to survive, and for that entry of few molecules should be there. Okay, we need to remove waste from the cell. For that also it should be selectively permeable. It should allow waste to go out. It should allow nutrients to come inside, right? And for that two processes are needed, okay, which will be carried out with help of plasma membrane or cell membrane, that is diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion means movement of molecules from higher concentration towards lower concentration. You can see here the concentration of molecule is high compared to this solution, so it will move from higher concentration towards lower concentration. Okay, here both solute and solvent will move. In osmosis, movement of solvent, that is just water, okay, only water will move across the semi-permeable membrane from a region of higher concentration to low solvent concentration. Okay, so you can see here water concentration is low, here it is high. Okay, semi-permeable membrane, so water will continuously move from a higher concentration towards lower concentration. Okay, fine. Next we have, how do substances move out of the cell? Now you know that the waste needs to be removed out, or there are few gases, exchange of gases need to be done in a cell. Okay, so how it happens, we will study that. Okay, some substances like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process known as diffusion. As I told that in diffusion, okay, molecules will move. So here what will happen, CO2 and oxygen, okay, carbon dioxide or oxygen will move across the cell membrane with help of diffusion, that is from higher concentration towards lower concentration. Clear? Some substances like CO2, carbon dioxide, which is the cellular waste, it is a waste which we need to excrete out, which we need to remove from the cell. Okay, so it accumulates in higher concentration inside the cell. Okay, what will happen if this is our cell? In the cell, the concentration of CO2 will increase, it will keep on increasing. Okay, waste will be produced. Now we need to remove this waste from the cell body. Okay, so here in cell the concentration of CO2 is high. Okay, in the cell's external environment, the concentration of CO2 will be low. Here, the CO2 content will be quite low. Okay, so in diffusion, what happens? Molecules will move from higher concentration towards lower concentration. So CO2 molecules will keep on coming outside. Clear? Okay, some substances like CO2, which is cellular waste and requires to be excreted out by the cell, accumulates in higher concentration inside the cell. Okay, in the cell's external environment, the concentration of CO2 is low. It is low as compared to that of the inside the cell. Okay, as soon as there is difference of concentration of CO2 inside and outside of the cell, CO2 moves out of the cell from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration outside the cell by a process known as diffusion. Clear? Okay, so this is the way how oxygen or carbon dioxide will be moving across the cell membrane by a process known as diffusion. Okay, they have shown here. Similarly, in the same way, again O2 also. Okay, as you all know that oxygen, that also we need to remove or we need to get it, right? So similarly, O2 enters the cell. Okay, you can see in the picture it is showing a semi-permeable membrane. O2 enters the cell by the process of diffusion when the level of concentration of O2 inside the cell decreases. Okay, now when O2 concentration will decrease here in the cell, what will happen? Here in external environment, you know that O2 oxygen will be more. So what will happen from external environment? It will go inside the cell continuously from higher concentration towards lower concentration, and our cell will gain oxygen. Okay. Similarly, O2 enters the cell by the process of diffusion when the level of concentration of O2 inside the cell is decreased. Inside the cell, we have very less oxygen. Okay, and outside the cell here we have good amount of oxygen. So with help of diffusion, it will go from higher concentration towards lower concentration. So it will keep on going inside. Clear? Thus, diffusion plays an important role in gaseous exchange between the cells as well as the cells and its external environment. Water also obeys the law of diffusion. The movement of water molecules through such a selectively permeable membrane is known as osmosis. Here, water is moving from higher concentration towards lower concentration with help of semi-permeable, or you can say selectively permeable membrane through the process known as osmosis. Okay, you might have noted that absorption of water through roots in plants, that is with help of osmosis and diffusion. Okay, in soil the concentration of water will be high and in roots it will be low. So water will move from soil to roots. How? From higher concentration towards lower concentration. So that is the way how roots will absorb the water from soil. Okay, with the help of osmosis. Fine. Next we have is types of solution. Now, as you all know, there are three types of solution based on tonicity. Okay, based on tonicity, we have hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic solution. Now, if we have a cell, okay, and we keep it in a hypotonic solution, okay, now in hypotonic solution, what will happen? The molecules will keep on going inside the cell, and there will be a situation when our cell will swell. Okay, so that is known as hypotonic solution. If a medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration, here the concentration of water is very high, okay, then the cell, meaning that the outside solution is very dilute. Okay, so the cell will keep on gaining water by osmosis from higher concentration towards lower concentration. The concentration of water in soil is cell is less, and in outer environment it is quite high. So it will continuously go inside. You can see your arrows means water is going inside. It will keep on going inside with the help of osmosis. This type of solution is known as hypotonic solution. And because of this movement, what will happen? Water molecules are free to pass across the cell membrane in both directions, but more water will come into the cell than will leave. So the net result is that water enters the cell. You can see here water is continuously, water molecules are going inside. Okay, and because of this reason the cell will swell up. So that is known as hypotonic solution. Okay, next we have is isotonic solution. Isotonic solution means here what will happen? Okay, there will be no net movement. Okay, whatever amount of molecules are coming inside will again go outside. So that process goes on and on. Okay, if a medium has exactly same water concentration outside and inside the cell, water concentration is same. Okay, there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane, but such a solution is known as isotonic solution. Now water crosses the cell membrane in both the directions. Okay, so you can see it is going inside also, it is coming outside, it's going inside, coming outside. So it goes on and on both the direction, but the amount going in is the same as the amount going out. so there is no net movement of water, and thus the size of cell will remain as it is. Here you can see the size of cell is as it is. So that is that type of solution where the concentration is same outside the cell and inside the cell. So such solution is known as isotonic solution. Clear? Third we have is hypertonic solution. Okay, hypertonic solution. Now in this what happens, if the medium has lower concentration than the cell, here the concentration is less, and inside the cell concentration of water is high, or concentration of any molecule is high. So you know that in osmosis what happens, water molecules or any molecules will move from higher concentration to low concentration. So if inside the cell it is high, then it will keep on going outside, from higher concentration towards lower concentration. So it will keep on losing the molecules, and because of such situation the cell will shrink. Okay, so such solution is known as hypertonic solution. If the medium has lower concentration than the cells, meaning that it is very concentrated solution, the cell will lose water by osmosis. Such a solution is known as hypertonic solution. Clear? Again, water crosses the cell membrane in both directions, but the amount, or this time more water leaves. Okay, more amount of water will leave. You can see here water is coming outside, so many molecules they have shown. Therefore the cell will shrink. Okay, so this is hypertonic solution. Clear with hypotonic, isotonic and hypertonic solution? Okay, fine, good. Okay, I have shown you all three over here. Okay, see, hypotonic solution, what will happen, the cell will swell. Okay, the amount of molecules will move inside from higher concentration towards lower concentration, and the cell will swell. Here the concentration of water molecules is same inside and outside the cell, so it will be same. The cell will not show any change in the shape. Okay, no net movement. So isotonic solution. And here the concentration of molecules, water molecule is higher inside the cell and it is low outside. So it will keep on losing the water and the cell will shrink. Okay, so that is known as hypertonic solution. Clear? Fine. Now next is, okay, few cells, as I mentioned prior, that amoeba is a kind of cell which keeps on changing its shape, and it is a unicellular organism, so each and every function will be done by the cell itself. Okay, they usually change their shape, and through endocytosis, okay, they consume nutrients, they take food. Okay, I have shown here in the diagram. Okay, with help of pseudopodia they'll engulf the food particle. Few unicellular freshwater organisms and most of the plants tends to get water with the help of osmosis. With the help of osmosis, those unicellular organisms or freshwater organism will gain nutrients. Okay, or plants will also do osmosis and will gain the water. Absorption of water through roots, we discussed already. Cells obtain nutrients through diffusion, that also I discussed. Okay, through endocytosis, cell engulf in the food and other materials from its external environment. That example is amoeba. With help of endocytosis, by forming pseudopodia, that is false leg, they will obtain the food particle and get energy. Clear? Fine. Now second part that we will study. Okay, we started with structural organization. In that, three things were there. First was plasma membrane, second was nucleus, and third was cytoplasm. We talked about plasma membrane. Okay, along with plasma membrane, here we will also discuss cell wall, because in few cells cell wall is present, like in unicellular organisms as well as in multicellular plant cell wall is present. Okay, I told in prior diagram, the outermost covering, white color lining, okay, that is cell wall. Next to that, this purple color line, okay, that is cell membrane, that we already discussed. Okay, now what is cell wall? A cell wall is the structural layer surrounding some types of cells just outside the cell membrane. This is our cell membrane. Just outside that we have a cell wall. okay, which will be protecting our cell. Okay, it is quite tough, it is quite rigid, it is quite hard. Okay, it is bit flexible as well. Okay. Plant cell walls are primarily made up of cellulose. It provides cells with both structural support, it will give hardness to our cell, it will give structure to our plant body. Okay, if cell wall will be absent, okay, like amoeba and like paramecium, our plant will also not have any structure and it will keep on changing its shape. But we don't have such plants, right? Why? Because it has cell wall which is giving its structure. Okay, it also helps to give support and protection, and also acts as a filtering mechanism. Okay, like how we studied selectively permeable membrane, same way cell wall will also act as a filtering mechanism. Okay, when the plant loses water through osmosis, now here what will happen when plant will lose water through osmosis? You all know that plants also, they do osmosis, right? For absorption of water they do osmosis, right? So same way, when they will lose water, okay, from one cell to another cell, water will go from higher concentration to lower concentration. So from here it will lose and it will be giving water molecules to the next cell. So here what will happen? It is losing, so it will shrink. Okay, so when the plant loses water through osmosis, there is shrinkage or contractions of some contents of the cell away from the cell wall. Cell wall will remain as it is, but this plasma membrane, or you can say cell membrane, okay, will get away from the cell wall, and that phenomena is known as plasmolysis. Usually in 1 mark, 2 mark definition of plasmolysis is asked. Okay, so you need to be aware what is plasmolysis. When plant loses the water, okay, through osmosis, there is a shrinkage or contraction of the contents of cells away from the cell wall, and that phenomena is known as plasmolysis. Clear? Fine. Difference between cell wall and plasma membrane. Okay, what is cell wall or cell membrane? First thing, cell membrane, it is present in all cells, it will be present in everyone. Okay, whether it is unicellular, multicellular, everyone. But cell wall, we have few limitations. It is present only in plants, bacteria, fungi and algae. Cell membrane, it is semi-permeable membrane. It will allow only few things to come in and out. Okay, it is selectively permeable membrane, plasma membrane. It will allow only few things to go in and out. But cell wall, it is fully permeable. It will allow everything to go in and out. Okay. Main function is to protect protoplasm. The main function of cell membrane is to protect the protoplasm, the inner content or the liquid which is present in the cell. Okay. And cell wall, the function of cell wall is to protect the cell membrane. This cell wall, because it is outermost covering, so it will protect cell membrane and will maintain the shape of the cell. Okay. Next we have, it is alive and it is active metabolically. Your cell wall is dead. Okay, it is non-living and it is inactive. Okay, the outermost covering. Cell membrane, that is plasma membrane, we saw in the diagram, it is made up of lipid, proteins and carbohydrates. Cell wall, it is made up of peptidoglycan in bacteria, chitin in fungi and cellulose in plants. Okay, so clear between cell membrane and cell wall? Fine. Moving towards next topic, that is nucleus. We discussed plasma membrane. Second is nucleus. Now nucleus, you know that it is the control center of the cell. It is the brain of our cell. All the functions will be handled by nucleus. Okay, it is the center of our control center of our cell. Okay, it contains DNA, that is our hereditary material. It has a chromatin material in it. Okay, it will be having DNA inside it. This is nucleus, blue color you can see. Okay, this is our cell. Fine. The outermost covering is known as cell membrane, we already studied. Second, we will study nucleus, and third is this fluid like structure that is known as cytoplasm. Okay, now nucleus, it is surrounded by a double membrane. You can see a double membrane covering is there. Okay, third thing, usually it is the easiest organelle to see under microscope. If you might have noticed, the first slide of this chapter when we started, okay, in background I kept picture of cells. In that, nucleus was easily visible. Okay, when we stain the slide at that time, when we stain the cell, okay, nucleus we can easily differentiate. Okay, and it is usually one per cell. In one single cell, one nucleus will be present. Clear? Fine. Now the nucleus, okay, now the nucleus contains chromosomes. This is our cell, this is nucleus. You can see colored part, it is nucleus. We have enlarged it and showed it over here. This is our entire nucleus. In nucleus we have to study 4 to 5 parts. Okay, a double layer membrane. That membrane, from the name itself you can remember, as it is nucleus, the membrane will be known as nuclear membrane. Then second thing, what nucleus consists? It consists of chromatin material. As we discussed, it has DNA, means chromatin material. Third thing, it has nucleolus. Okay, this is nucleolus. Then here are the pores. These pores are known as nuclear pore. And the liquid, the fluid, is known as nucleoplasm. Okay, easy to remember. Chromatin, nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleopore, and nucleolus. Now this nucleus will contain chromosome. Okay, I have shown here chromosome. This chromatin material, during cell division, they will form thick structures of chromosomes. Okay, they'll be forming chromosomes, and this chromosomes will have DNA in it. You can see here, this is DNA. It has histone protein in it. Clear? Okay, so the nucleus contains chromosomes which are visible as rod-shaped structures only when the cell is about to divide. Here, if we see, we will just see the chromatin material. But when we see under microscope during cell division, okay, excuse me, during cell division, this chromatin will form chromosomes. This chromosomes contains what? It contains information for inheritance of the features from parents to the next generation in the form of DNA molecules. Okay, in the form of DNA molecules, it will have a inheritance features of our parents. Clear? These chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. Here it is histone protein, DNA. Okay, so this chromosome is made up of what? DNA and protein. Okay, the functional segments of this DNA will have a specific genes. Okay, so the functional segments of DNA will be having genes in it. DNA will be present as a chromatin material. Okay, so finally what? Chromatin material. It is entangled mass of thread-like structure. You can see here thread-like structures are there, and it is quite entangled. Okay, whenever the cell is about to divide, when the cell will divide from this one single cell, it will divide into two. At that time, what will happen? Even the nucleus will divide. Okay, means like chromatin material, they will form chromosomes. Chromosomes will be having DNA and protein in it, and the functional segments of this DNA will be having gene. Okay, I hope you are clear with the concept of chromosomes and nucleus and everything. Fine. Okay, next we have is, okay, as we discussed about nucleus, we prior talked about nucleus in eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Prokaryotes means unicellular organisms, okay, like bacteria, paramecium, amoeba. Okay, they do not have well-defined nucleus. Okay, only nuclear material will be scattered randomly, so it is known as nucleoid. You can see here. But in eukaryotes, that is multicellular organisms, we have well-defined nucleus. Yes, nucleolus, nucleus. This will be yellow color lining is known as nuclear membrane. Okay, if we see the magnified view, we can able to see nucleopore like this. See, this is the magnified view. This portion is shown here. Okay, clear? So difference between the eukaryotes and prokaryotes, nucleus. Fine. Next we have is cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm is just the fluid that is present inside the cell. Okay, cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the cell. It contains cell organelles. All the cell organelles would be present in our cytoplasm. That's it. Okay, that is the function of cytoplasm. What it will contain, or it will give structural support to the cell organelles. Clear? Okay, next we have is cell organelles. Now, what do you mean by cell organelles? Cell organelles are different organs which are, or different organelles which are responsible for doing specific function inside our cells, for performing specific function, for removing waste. Now, see, they have shown your plant cell. Okay, nucleus. It will be doing inheritance, like it will be giving inheritant material from our parent body to us. Okay, that is its function. Mitochondria, the function of mitochondria will be to produce energy. Okay, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, cytoplasm, it will support the cell organelles. Large vacuole, it will help to store the food, water. It will also give turgidity to our cell. Chloroplast, the function of chloroplast is to give color to our pigment, our plant body. Okay, it has chlorophyll in it, so it will give color to the plant body. It will also help in photosynthesis. Lysosome will remove the waste from the plant body or plant cell. Okay, so each and every cell organelle has a specific function that they need to carry, and that entire cell, that makes an entire cell. Clear? So large and complex cells, including cells from multicellular organisms, need a lot of chemical activities to support their complicated structures and functions. And to do those activities, okay, those chemical activities to support those functions, structural and functions, they require cell organelles. Okay, and combination of this all cell organelles in a membrane will be forming a single cell. Okay, like that way we have numerous number of cells in it, we have numerous organelles in it. Clear? To keep these activities of different kinds separate from each other, this cells uses membrane bound organelles. Okay, to keep these structural and functional activities different, these organelles are having membranes, otherwise it will fuse with each other. Okay, cell organelles, we will study each and every cell organelle in detail, okay, in our next lecture. Now I have few questions for you all. Let us check what you all understood. Okay, I want you all to answer in the comment section. Okay, living cells were first observed by Robert Hooke, Leeuwenhoek, Sheldon and Schwann. Make sure you answer in comment section. Second is the aspects of cell theory, which states that animals are made up of cells, was proposed by which scientists? Schwann, Sheldon, Virchow, or A and B both? Okay, next we have identify the multicellular organism from this four. Which is a multicellular organism? Amoeba, plant, bacteria, or B and C both? Means B and C both. No, I know the answer. I hope you all also know the answer. Okay, if you know, please mention in the comment section. Prokaryotes have nuclear region called, okay, the nuclear region of prokaryotes, they do not have well-defined nucleus, so there is a specific name given to them. Okay, their nucleus, what it is? Nucleus, nucleoid, or nucleolus. Osmosis occurs across, okay, osmosis is a process that will occur across what? Cell wall, cell membrane or plasma membrane, nuclear membrane or cytoplasm. Fine. The genetic material of cell is found in what it is, where it is found, where the inherited material from our parents is found, where is DNA, chromosome, chromatin material found in the cell? Nucleus, mitochondria, leucoplast or cytoplasm. Okay, dried resins swells up when kept in. Dried resins, you know, black color, right? In which kind of solution we will keep so that it will swell? Okay, so you might be clear with your thoughts. Okay, hypotonic, hypertonic, isotonic, and all of this. Think twice and then answer. Okay, we are done with part 1 of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you all.